Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to AVX Live. I'm Joe Gilderson, President of Corporate Audiovisual Services. And for 2 weeks in a row,
New
I am,
record.
I'm joined by my co host, Mr. Ryan Finch.
Hello, hello, hello. It's great. Look, I like even numbers, so maybe I'll make it four next. Who knows?
Wow, that would be incredible if you can pull it off. So, my understanding is you got big plans tonight. Is that true?
I do. It'll be the summer soiree from the Business Council Westchester over at the Surf Club in New Rochelle. I'm not dressed for it yet, but I will be soon. And yeah, looking forward to it.
Okay. And do you have to be there earlier than the rest of the folks?
I do have to be there earlier.
Why? Why do you have to be
you
there
have to be
earlier?
there for the same reason. So there you go.
I actually don't have to because I don't think anybody remembers that. But listen,
That's true.
why
We learned
do
that.
you have to be there? I think that's what everybody really wants to know.
Because it's for the Business Council Rising Stars 40 under 40,
Oh,
of
boy.
which I have been
Hey, now.
selected graciously. Thank you very much. And
Wow.
I will be bringing sunglasses. I got to have some sort of flair. So there
Yeah,
you
you're
go.
going to need some flair. I mean, you're going to have competition there. That's all I'm saying. Because I've heard a lot of discussion circulating around here about what people are going to wear. And I don't know. You better step it up. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, Joe, the Mets are on. Can we get to the
All right.
the
I'm
programming
sorry.
here?
I'm sorry. My fault. Thank you, Peter. I appreciate it. Listen, we've had a fun few weeks here. We announced recently our New York City office opening. Of
Boom.
course, we then spoke about our Pirate University training, right, which we'll be talking about more and very soon. And then last week, we celebrated a 1 year anniversary for both Marissa and Alexa. I mean, this is big stuff. But this week, we've got a great guest, and I'm very excited to have him on. Super interesting person, really great guy. But before we get there, Mr. Finch, can you
Tell them, I know, tell them the things. Yes, you can find us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube Live. You can do that every Wednesday at 1 p.m., just like it's Wednesday at 1 p.m. right now, 1:03 technically, but we started on time. If you are there, you should drop us a comment. You should be part of the show, like our friends have been doing already. So please do ask a question. We will answer it live. We're doing it live. We might as well. And of course, if you missed this, you can find the recordings on YouTube, and you can also find little bite-sized chunkable pieces on Facebook, on Instagram. There we go, nailed it. And yeah, while you're there, while you're looking, whatever channel you're on, whatever you're watching, show us some love, like, comment, share, subscribe, all the above. Please, please, thank you.
it was like I read your mind
There
on
we
that
go.
one.
Boom.
Man,
Boom.
I mean, you
Speaking of
almost blew it, but you really did a good job.
Speaking of reading minds, we have a comment here. I'm going to wait till you introduce our guest, but it seems like that's what the audience wanted.
I am sure he's going to generate some really good comments. So let me tell you about the moment we've all been waiting for, which is today's guest, Mr. Artie Dillon. Artie is one of our elite audiovisual engineers. Ryan, if you could, there you go. But besides running our warehouse and training new recruits all day, Artie is a professional musician and a YouTube content creator. He is such an interesting person with a variety of experiences, and he really excels at them all. That's a nice group shot. I like that one. But today, we're going to try to focus most of our discussion on his new passion, which is vlogging. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our colleague, Artie Dillon.
Boom.
Gentlemen, I got my sunglasses all ready for Finch here.
It looks really good.
I
Is
could
it-
use some.
Hey, Artie, by the way, it's very clear that we're giving the people what they want.
Oh, well.
Apparently, you've been sorely missing from this show, and I actually agree. And yes,
really?
indeed, Artie is a rock star.
Literally a rock star.
Well,
You know-
it's certainly an honor and a privilege to join the pantheon of illustrious AVX Live guests. So it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Did you say Pantheon?
I did.
I'm Googling it. Hold on.
I wasn't sure. I thought it was pants, and we're not allowed to talk about pants in the show, so I wasn't sure what just happened. But listen, Artie, it's always a pleasure, and I truly mean everything. You're a very interesting person, very creative, but a really nice guy.
Thank,
I mean,
thank you, Joe. No, it is. I've learned a great deal by observing all of the company management and trying to pattern what we do here after all of the best habits. So I thank you in return.
Well, that's enough, attaboys. Let's get on to the show, man. So we know you're doing well. We know all about this other stuff you do. But before we get into the content creation, I think we've got to give a little bit of history here. So let's start with the basics. How'd you get into music? Short story, not the long story.
As you know, I have trouble with the short story, but I'll try to stick to my notes.
And just a word to the wise, big words confuse us apparently. So if we could keep it for layman.
Simple, please. Simple.
I like using my SAT words. It gives it creates user engagement in the content creation space. So anyway, enough sarcasm. As far as music, I come from a musical family. My mom is a professional singer and has been for many years. And I really cut my teeth by going to all of her band rehearsals. And I discovered a real love of gear early on. And mainly the guitar. It was the funniest concise story I can tell is in '92, way back in the olden days.
Ooh, wow.
Eric Clapton did Eric Clapton Unplugged, and my mom calls me into the living room one day and says, "You have to check out this guitar player. He was popular when I was a kid." And I saw the guitar solo to Layla, and it was life-changing. So that I've been hitting the books ever since.
Well, I gotta say, Artie, as somebody who I even hesitate to say this, as somebody who's musically inclined, I'll come from that position because I was going to call myself a musician, but musically inclined I think is a better fit. But as somebody who is also musically inclined, I'd have to imagine that the idea of getting up on stage and playing a guitar solo that inspires a small child watching to dedicate really a big part of the rest of their life to music, inspired by that moment, is that not like the pinnacle of music and art? Because to me, that's what it is.
I'd like to think so. That's probably, that thought is one of the reasons I'm painfully indecisive about what to play all the time.
What will little Tommy want?
Yeah, what could you really play that's going to making a difference?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when being a part of bands that you're on stage and the audience is singing the lyrics of the songs back to you, there's nothing like it. That level of energy and that level of participation, and
Connection,
right? It goes directly to what we do, creating an environment through which creativity can be highlighted in the most poignant way.
Poignant. I don't want to. I have to double back for a second.
That's another big word. Listen, Artie, there may be a reason why you're on episode 58 and not episode 1. I mean, these words are just, they're taking us down. But listen, I don't think people really understand just the level that you may play at. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about some of the like really those moments, guitar moments in your life that you've had that, kind of stand out a little bit more.
One of the favorite guitar moments, and I have combed all over the internet looking for any evidence of this because it sounds like it's totally made up, but I would love to find a magazine article. If anybody watching can put something in the comments, if they have the Washington Huskies home opening game 2012. I was on tour with a group that was led by Carmine Appice, the classic legendary rock drummer who I still play with. We had this performance art project called Slam, and it was basically a guitar player's worst nightmare. 5 drummers and me. So, but it was great. We wore Dayglow paint. We had ripped jeans and crazy stage clothes, and it was more performance art than music, but it was really cool. And we played the Washington Huskies home opening game on the field at halftime. 58,000 people.
Wow.
I don't get nervous much about playing. I still do. I'm more nervous right now than I could say I am usually about playing gigs. But pulling up to the venue in the Sprinter van, you could hear the volume of the crowd, a half a mile away. So that was a really an experience that affected me greatly. The sound of an audience that big, it's intimidating.
Wow.
Is there anything different in your preparation for a gig when it's a crowd of 58,000 versus when it's, an intimate gathering at at wherever? Is there a difference in the way you prepare mentally or physically or otherwise?
I love that question because I can quote. I often satirize about stealing things, whether it's quotes from people or I stole a lick from this favorite guitar player. But I steal a lot of quotes, and I also have a penchant for playing with really good drummers. So one of the best drummers I have played and currently play with, Steve Werner, played with Ace Frehley and Frehley's Comet. I still play with Steve all the time. And when I was a young lad, I was maybe doing gigs in bars I wasn't old enough to be in. I was maybe 17 or 18. He said something that was very important, and he said it doesn't matter if there's 50,000 people or if there's 5. All of those people deserve the same show. So I think the set list is more of a determination on how I prepare, because a lot of the songs I might know already, so there's very little I have to go over. But it's the same show. I try to be just as engaged and offer the same show to the audience, regardless of how big the place is.
Artie, I think Joe has something he wants to show you.
Well, I mean, I think Artie has actually played
Yes.
with most of these guys. So,
I have. I've played with Ace a couple of times. I have some Ace. I have some stories I could tell about Ace, but I can't tell them here. So
We are live.
I don't know if this is the appropriate venue for that.
Yeah.
Wait, because he is known for his stories. So, but no, I mean that you've had the chance. I mean, you're talking about the peace tours and being on there. I know they both pronounce their last name differently, so I don't want to screw it up. But I mean, you're talking about legends. I mean that. I don't know. Is one of them in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Because if not, he's probably pretty close. So.
I believe they both are really close. Off the top of my, the most engagement I've had with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was a couple of months ago when Dolly Parton turned down her nomination. But yeah, they're very close. They've played with legendary artists: Rod Stewart, Ronnie Dio, Vanilla Fudge, obviously Jeff Beck. I mean, legendary musicians. So it's a lot of fun.
Well, so you're playing with legendary musicians who play with legendary musicians. So in my book, that makes you legendary. Is that true?
I think there's some familial characteristic twice removed, something like that. But, I just try to keep my eyes open and learn as much as I can from them.
Well, I think you're right on point. And Artie's an excellent guitarist. If you ever get to see him play, you will be very pleased.
Yes.
But moving on from
Thank you so
music.
much.
So how did music lead you into audio engineering?
Being a juvenile delinquent. That's really how it happened. It's
All right, there you go.
There's a little hyperbole there, but it's pretty true. It was a rough time. My mid-teens were a rough time, and like I said, my mom, all my chops I get from my mom. I was going to band rehearsals and recording sessions since I was maybe 9 or 10, and I picked up a lot. So in the desire to give me some kind of direction, she found out about a program that was in its infancy. It's still around. It's called the Recording Connection, and they're very similar. They're like a correspondence version of SAE or Full Sail. They were very, very fledgling at the time. And my mom enrolled me the summer of my sophomore year in high school for, I won't regale you with the gory details of that, but basically 15 years old, I got my first studio internship. I showed up at the studio and I never left.
There you go. So you were just immediately drawn to it. Obviously, you had your aha moment seeing Clapton, but once you got your hands on the gear, right? I mean, did that come into play? Was it the actual equipment from the audio engineering side, or anything hardware related?
Well, to your point about Clapton, it was probably the song Badge that made me fall in love with sound. The sound of a guitar. There's a Leslie speaker that's used in old style organs, and in the 60s they used to put a guitar amp through it because it created this otherworldly swirling sound, and it was a sound at 10 years old I'd never heard before, and I was like, what is that? I have to learn that. I need one of those. Needless to say, they weigh 500 pounds and it's a whole big deal, so you can't really use one in a casual sense. But it made me fall in love with the sound of the guitar, and that sort of begat all of the other audio related things that came downstream. So I think the the biggest, most powerful lessons I learned from the studio, certainly in a few ways what not to do, but and this is an interesting story to one particular day here. The boss at the time, Tarek Salangi, who Joe knows very, very well through all of our escapades with local speaker dealings. Tarek was my mentor from the Recording Connection program, and he said something to me very early on. It was a recording and rehearsal studio. So you had bands coming in to rehearse hourly, and you had bands coming in to record a full album. And he said, you're going to learn a lot about everything here. And I pretty much cut my teeth learning how to fix the vacuum and how to fix broken drum hardware. Fast forward 20 plus years, there's a day Joe brings in his drum pedals and a broken vacuum. So here I am 25 years later, still fixing drums and vacuums. So
full circle moment.
Full circle, exactly.
Yeah. And both were better off because of your skills.
Oh man, that's funny. Artie, you and Joe, we totally blew it on this because I totally should have had a better. Oh wait, no, hold on. We didn't blow it. Never mind. I take it back. Artie, you taught a class at Pirate University, the anatomy of sound. The anatomy of sound. Now, I guess my question here is, were you immediately interested in the science, on the nitty gritty detail of what sound is, or was that something that developed after you had all of the working, the working knowledge?
It developed. Yeah, I've always been terrible at math. The only subject where math sort of made sense was physics in high school, and it was sort of the stuff that I could apply practically.
Right.
So by the time I needed something to do after high school, I figured this is the best thing to do. I need to do something I can actually stand. So I enrolled in the Institute of Audio Research, and it was pretty much to really understand all of the technical things that you can only get so far by doing, and understanding the theory behind it is really what I was going after. And it's interesting because it's the polar opposite of my understanding of the guitar. I really feel that there's a paying it forward aspect to disseminating information about audio, how to do things and why they are. Whereas it's the complete opposite on guitar. I have no idea how to translate my ideas on the guitar, on the instrument, into actual words. It's very difficult. Yet somehow with audio, I really enjoy communicating about it. So understanding the equations and understanding why sound waves do what they do was really, really fascinating. So it was a lot of fun to study.
Oh, it's very cool. But the amazing thing is all of that led you through a life of audio, right? And of course, we've seen you learn many, many other skills here that were not audio. A lot of video, a lot of lighting, a lot of staging applications, and of course, then your experiences traveling everywhere. I know I usually get funny pictures of you of weird staging things from various places, so that are not safe. But that's I'm sure
not OSHA certified for sure.
No, but I'm sure I only see the bad ones, not the good ones. So, but how then did you go from music and audio engineering into vlogging and content creation? I guess what started that process?
That's a great question too, because I'm still trying to figure that out myself. There's a lot of times I'm in front of a screen full of edits and I'm going, why am I doing this? Why am I putting myself through this? It's you're staring at a screen, at hard drives of hundreds of gigs of data that I probably won't ever get to use. But in all seriousness, I think I was really affected by YouTube. Like when I first got married, we decided this cable thing was way too expensive for delivering so little. So I cut the cord, as they say, a long time ago, and I've been a almost exclusive YouTube watcher ever since. And I was really affected by what was going on back in 2014 and 15.
We call those lurkers, by the way. You just consume and you don't add anything.
Well, and that might have had something to do with it. And that's a really good point, because I would watch guys like Rob Chapman and Rhett Shull and RJ Ronquillo, and who would show their backstage stuff and their tour videos, as well as their myriad of gear reviews. But it was mostly the candid stuff that I would watch these videos and go, I wonder if I could do that. So I did. I had an iPhone that could record video, and that was it. I started making it.
And when was this? When was that first foray? When was your Clapton moment for this?
Clapton moment for
And maybe it's not fair to say that they're on the same tier, but what was the first time? When was it? And give us a time frame.
Well, I mean, you can go back and watch it, and I not that I suggest that you do, but my first video was probably about as terrible as the first time I picked up a guitar. So, but at least it was finished.
You're right.
I want to say it was like I want to say it was 2015. 2015, I think the first video. It was very gear centric, and I thought I had these delusions of grandeur that I was going to make these gear review videos and people were going to start sending me free stuff. But
I like
spoiler
that.
alert, that didn't happen.
It's a really good idea, though. In fairness,
I like that.
But it was. I guess the early videos sort of taught me nobody cares about that. There's people who care, but certainly not on the when you're trying to take advantage of any audience that you may already have. The group of friends I have on social media, most of them are probably not in at all interested in that, and I figured like maybe there's some kind of interpersonal thing that I could utilize. And I decided to maybe try to answer some of the questions I normally get, like, really, what is it like backstage? Or what do you guys do on tour? Or what's it like being on tour? So that like the second, season's worth of videos tried to be the fly on the wall in the tour bus kind of vibe, where I thought I could maybe add a little interestingness in that way. And I guess consequently that didn't really work either. So now I think it's really more about telling a really compelling story, something that's has some kind of cohesive nature to it. So that's what I'm trying to do now.
that's interesting. Well, and I have to say this: you made a really what I found to be a really salient point on your shifting in terms of the content, right? And something honestly we could probably take point on this show, and that is you start with your audience, right? What do they want? Instead of, reaching for like what could I add to this unlimited marketplace of people consuming, start with what the people who are already listening to you want to know about. And I think there's a lot to be said as far as the trajectory and the path that you took, in starting and focusing on the people who are listening. I think you can make that exact same, comparison to a lot of different, everything from what we do and what we add to a market. I think there's a lot to say there.
I think the closest, the most concise point I could make is I probably just early on I started to try to make the content I wanted to watch.
Right.
And as my watching habits have evolved, I guess I'm still trying to do that, trying to make something interesting.
Absolutely. Well, we have a question from the audience here. Are you a moment-to-moment kind of artist or a big picture kind of guy when creating content?
I don't know if I've even ever thought about that.
Well, now you have. There you go. You're on the spot.
Big picture.
Surprise!
There it is. There's the surprise. I think it's a little bit of both. I think I don't really have a shoot schedule. Like I don't have, but sometimes there is. Sometimes I know I have an interesting gig coming up that I'm going to want to vlog. I actually have one of those in the works right now from a handful of gigs that started last week. So in some cases, like Pirate U, when I had originally envisioned the vlog for there, I had foreseen it as a multi-part series. But sometimes my expectations or the vision I have, the video I'm watching in my head, maybe sometimes exceeds my ability to make it. So what comes out is an amalgam of ideas that can be achieved or that can be executed within the skill set I already have.
Well, it's a working title, right? It's a rough concept that you eventually flesh out and make your own. I think that's in many creative things. I'm sure in the music scene when you're inevitably writing the tasty guitar licks that I've seen you play.
Tasty.
I could see that being the case. Go ahead, Joe.
Ryan, rather than just talk about videos, how about we show one of Artie's videos.
That is a tremendous idea. Is it?
Well,
is
thank
it
you.
The video he made for a certain event coming up, or a different video, Joe? What did you have in mind here?
Well, I mean, I'd like to actually show more than one, but why don't we go with the one we have kind of lined up? And let's give people a taste of Artie Dillon.
Okay, we'll do that.
What a segue! I love it.
I have to non-ceremoniously silence the background music that I forgot would get in the way of this now. There we go. Okay, energy gone, and it's back. Oh no,
Totally blew it.
I blew it.
Totally blew it.
I don't know what's happening now. Oh, there it is.
Right.
Okay.
This is some inner workings going on back here.
Putting together a virtual, hybrid, in-room experience, demos, streaming things out. We've done our tests. We've got multiple switchers, great lighting package. Looks like we have some really nice work happening here, and I appreciate everything everybody's doing. That's what I gotta say.
This is my favorite moment.
And that was not rehearsed.
Literally caught sleeping on the
Set day
job.
has been very productive. Everybody has been excellent as usual. Finch and I just did a recording a little while ago. I'm sure mine is better than his.
Of
That's all I'm going to say. He had to do like 4 recordings. One take Gilderson is what they call it.
Nobody calls you that.
Service is serving your customer. And remember, when your customer asks you to do something, tell them no.
Biggest thing is preparation. Preparation takes time. It doesn't matter what you're preparing for, because you have to think about it first. Think about your actions before you do them, and everything will be better. Doesn't matter what it is. You're creating a video, you're going to make a presentation, you're going to play a song. It's all the same. You got to practice, you got to think first, do later. It's always more work than you think, too.
We just finished up our production meeting and run through about 18 hours. We're going to see if it all works.
This is quite the elaborate operation you have here, Will.
Yeah, so basically I've got vMix on screen 1 and 2, where I'm using capture on both screens as I go through the vMix Virtual Production 201, better known as Zoom into vMix using NDI.
There will also be a 122-page accompanying hand workbook that will go through Will's presentation.
And that's all part of the balance of what a hybrid event is. We joke about it because only a few months prior, maybe in December.
Really good.
I think we had some really nice discussions. I thought
So
I
handsome.
thought we had some fun and engaging people here with us. The sandwich was good. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a successful day one. I'm looking forward to more. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. I love corporate audiovisual. I love Joe. I love everyone that works here.
Definitely check that out. That is from 3:30.
How would I do that?
That's a wonderful question. Glad you asked that.
Thank
Left-hand side, once again, if you're on the desktop version.
Well, you know, Artie, I would say we survived the storm. The 8 inches of rain we survived. I would say we survived the power outage.
Yes.
We survived internet being down. We survived them all in the sense of trying to build a community and for learning. But everybody's committed to trying to do something, and that's just like he was saying about being together and working together. That's what this stuff is all about. So I think all in all, I think we made it through. And we had a successful time.
Nice. Woo! It was good stuff.
Got the hashtag and everything.
He's a professional.
That was well done.
Excellent
well done.
job. Excellent job.
Man, I wish I had like a round of applause audio track to use. It didn't work out. I'm producing this on the fly already. I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can relate.
That's why it's called AVX Live, baby.
We're live.
Yeah. Also, I have zero recollection of the interview that I gave you. Absolutely zero. None.
We
was
have
really
a
well done,
comment. We have a comment.
Oh, thank you, Cavlo Cav. Wow.
Have a little cab. And we had another comment prior to that.
We do, actually. It's a really good question. Nice to see
Not-
that Will was away from it.
I think he means awake. That's what
Oh.
since he, this is why we don't really let him in the videos too often. But
Yeah, well, it was indeed a great video. Nice job, Artie. Nice job.
And that is
Excellent.
never before seen content that's exclusive right here.
Oh,
Only
exclusive.
here on AVX Live.
Exclusives are a
deliver the
big
best.
deal.
Yeah.
Hey, now. Well, actually, we have a question from the audience that I also want to know about. Artie, do you get money? I like the wording on that. Do you get money from the views?
Dollar bills, y'all. That's a goal. That's a goal
Okay.
we're working on. It's the first milestone was getting over 100 subscribers.
Okay.
And we're at 140 now, and it was beyond my wildest dreams because I really wanted to have the way the YouTube algorithm works. You have to have over 100 subs to be able to have your own URL. So
Okay.
now it's youtube.com/Artie Dillon, and
There's no C?
Is there no C?
there's no C.
Really?
We've been misspelling things left and right over here.
Well, hold on. I'm going to double check it. You continue, please. I'm going to double check.
But youtube.com/Artie Dillon, and that was made things a lot easier to share and stuff.
Yeah.
So now the next one is I think it's 1,000 subscribers, and I think it's 4,000 hours of watch time.
Okay.
So we got a ways to go. I would like to, but not currently.
You gotta play ball with the channels themselves. That certainly makes sense. Now I would imagine YouTube is your primary channel. Is that the case? Feel free to correct me.
Channel of social media?
Yeah, well, whatever. In terms of the content you create, is YouTube its primary home or?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, for long form content, it makes sense. I don't know a whole lot about it, but well, that's not. And so your whole catalog, your whole catalog is in your YouTube channel then.
It is. I'm in the process of putting some playlists together. I kind of have a couple of different shows. I guess I call one show about summer gigs. The other one is called Wedding Season, and I'm making a playlist that'll have all those videos together. That way, they're you just go to playlist. That's it right there, and all of the Appice Apiece tour vlogs will be together. So yeah,
Nice. All right.
This is very cool stuff. Very cool. So, let's just see if we can look at one for a minute. See what we got. Anything can happen right now. We're live, so anything can happen.
And Joe's computer notoriously acts up.
I never finished it. If you want to see that, leave me a note in the comments below.
Engaging the audience.
user engagement.
Actually, I was curious how you got this shot in the airport.
That the camera is leaning very dangerously on the side of a garbage can.
It doesn't have to be graceful. It just has to work.
Yeah, but the shot's great.
It is. It's a great shot. Absolutely.
I know. That's what I think. All right, we're going to skip it forward a little bit.
So why am I?
I'm going to skip forward. Again, Mike.
Yes, I'm vlogging this too. Last time we checked out the Maserati.
Yeah.
This time we're checking out.
What are we checking out now?
Oh, that's the Jaguar F-Type, but you can't see it because it's too damn dark.
So it's a rock show, it's a funk show, and it's a car show.
I mean,
Is
what's
that
better than
where is that?
That was for Carmine's 75th birthday. We flew down to West Palm Beach to play his 75th birthday party.
Beautiful. Yeah, I saw palm trees. I said, well, that looks exotic.
That's not Westchester.
No. I mean, I should have known with the whole airport scene right before that, but
I like all the walking parts. I find them interesting.
So I'm out on my evening perambulation.
There's another SAT word.
Things for
Yeah,
the
I
hotel
didn't know
room,
what it meant,
grab
so
a
I
bite
skipped
to eat.
over it.
I'm hearing the sounds of live music, so I think I'm going to check it out. I feel like seeing a band.
The band is rocked in there. Pretty cool.
They were excellent, and I'm friends with those guys on Facebook now.
All right. So here's a question I have. Do you have any trouble with copyrighted music clips in your vlogs? This is a very anecdotal, very specific question. But really what I'm wondering is, we're live streaming this. That sounded a lot like a song that's definitely copyrighted. And have you ever gotten tripped up like that?
All the time.
Okay.
That's fodder for a much longer dissertation on YouTube's algorithm and stuff. You could check out Rick Beato's channel if you want to see somebody screaming and hollering about how unfair it is. I don't have to worry about it much because I'm not monetizing my channel. You know, in 5 years, when there's hundreds of thousands of views, maybe then I will wish I paid a little bit more attention to it now. But I generally don't worry about it because I'm not monetizing the channel. I haven't gotten stuck much in terms of YouTube removing videos or making them unwatchable. There was the video we put together for Jim's retirement, the vlog for Jim's retirement. YouTube flagged that, and I wasn't allowed to share it. I wasn't allowed to watch it. I wasn't allowed to do anything to it because of Sony, BMG, Universal, something like that. Blocked it completely. But that was really the only one that was a catastrophic failure. My only thoughts on that, and I'll keep them brief, too late, are you run into, it's nice that there is a system that allows artists to be paid in the virtual space. However, there's a lot of ways currently that are in force that implement many versions of the same thing. So, for instance, you have distributors like CD Baby or duplicators that host virtual things for artists that maybe don't have access to creating one themselves. You have publishing companies also monitoring YouTube, Vimeo, and the other channels and streaming services. The problem I run into is when, even though I'm a songwriter of record, I can't use the content in my video because there's another third-party publishing claiming rights to it. So I can't use it in my video, or I get a copyright strike, even though I'm a primary songwriter of record. So there's a lot of gray area currently. But right now, it's not something I pay a lot of attention to.
How do you notice that ahead of time?
When you upload the YouTube video, it scans your video for any illicit material. So it'll tell you when there's a problem with it.
And you get
somebody
digital
should have
slap on the wrist.
Somebody should have scanned this video. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
We will find out afterwards.
It is illicit. Hey, listen, so, we're talking a little bit about tech. You mentioned editing, and we talked about big ideas or, or getting into the details, but what do you think is actually harder about it all? Is it the idea development? Is it the tech? Is it the editing? What do you think?
The ideas, definitely. The second hardest being the camera work, because it's not a skill that comes natively to me. And also being painfully indecisive also doesn't help. But it's the ideas are difficult. And I mentioned before, you have great ideas, you can see this vision in your head, but sometimes that exceeds my ability to be able to achieve it. So sometimes reeling it in becomes the effort. How do I tell this story, or how do I make a story that is, how do I convey this idea with the tools that I have? So that's sometimes the most difficult thing, but definitely getting the ideas to make something that's compelling enough to warrant all of the work that comes downstream.
That makes a lot of sense, and it makes a lot of sense to me as a, what did I refer to myself as earlier? A musically inclined. I'm musically inclined. In my head, you should hear the guitar solos I am doing. They're tremendous, but my fingers, terrible. Can't do anything. So I feel you on that. But no, I mean, look, the ideation is, I think the hardest part to anything creative, obviously. And vlogging is no different. It's like, what are people going to sit and watch? What do I have to say that's fresh and interesting? And I think we ask ourselves that question for this show all the time. So, that's certainly something I can relate to. We did have a good question from old friend Eddie Morell.
Ed Morell, wow.
The silver shark himself came swimming in our pond to ask you this question. Where did you obtain your video skills?
Ed, we miss you terribly here. Every time
We
I'm
do.
at Pete's Saloon, we're always talking about you. I obviously got all of my video skills from none other than Jim Marlowe, of course.
There we go.
But
Done. Mic drop.
Shout out to Cavs alumni. But no, shout out to my Uncle Mike. My Uncle Mike has been a corporate videographer for the better part of 35 years. And he probably made video accessible. My first time, he had a public access show that we would film, and then he would edit it. He was an analog editor for many years, scrubbing tape reels together. But I was maybe 13 or 14, and I saw my first Avid system, and like, wow, this looks like a lot like what we do with audio. This is amazing. I think I could do that. So it made it very accessible. So it was years before I started doing anything, because I never, this is going back to before every phone had a camera that could shoot usable video. But yeah, I would think some cross section. Uncle Mike definitely made video accessible, and then it was further. I learned a lot in a short time just by being present here.
There you go. Well, look, the learning never stops, and it happens wherever. Joe still got the C in the banner. My God.
There's a reason. There's a reason.
Okay.
Is that virtual?
Take that link and pop it in. That's where it'll take you. Artie's page.
I know, but all right, you ready? Hold on.
Yeah. Put it in.
YouTube.com/Artie Dillon. And let's see. Yep, goes right to the same page. So conciseness, Joe, concise.
All right, but you're making it say like I'm wrong. I'm not wrong, dude.
I wonder I think the C might have something to do with
Like channel or something.
mobile access or something. I'm not sure. I've never noticed it.
Possible. Well, the C is optional, okay? YouTube.com/Artie Dillon. Artie, the previous question was about what is the hardest part of the process. I now ask you, what is the most enjoyable part of this process? Are you cleaning? Are you looking at the audio waveforms and really digging in deep, or what's the best part of it to you?
Surprisingly, the audio is kind of an afterthought. I'm working on that. I noticed, because if you look at the idea of the vlog medium is really interesting, because I think I've chosen a real humdinger of a field to sort of distinguish myself, when sort of the renaissance of that industry was probably 2014 or 15, 16-ish, with guys like Casey Neistat and Peter McKinnon and Roman Atwood that really, did something with, elevated it to an art form. And a lot of the unique and innovative things that could be done have been done at such a really high level that it's tough to stand out. Music, on the other hand, was something that, and those were like single camera, holding it here. So having the music aspect of it is the more challenging part, and how do you convey something that actually sounds halfway decent? So to your question, the most enjoyable part of it is probably editing. Just because I think in a lot of ways the story is really fine-tuned through the edit, and you can really make it concise, and you can get to the point, assuming you have enough to work with. But even sometimes you end up with something totally different than you started out with. So it's a process that can, even though it's challenging, can reveal a lot. And one of the big things I'm working on is how to capture better audio in those situations where things are often quite louder than what conventional microphones can handle. So that's coming next. But definitely the edit, although challenging, is the most enjoyable part. You end up with something you never knew you had.
It's funny, because editing is like the thing that I like the least. I don't have the patience, is what I find. Because it boils down to the minutia, and that's not my cup of tea. But Artie, I got to tell you, these videos are excellent. They're really good. I hope everybody checks out the channel. I know I'm a subscriber. I'm in there.
Yes.
But
it's an honor to be able to know my videos are being watched by someone who I respect greatly. So it's a big compliment.
I like
Thank
the
you,
backstage look. I like the storytelling behind it. People see everybody thinks that, music is sometimes very glitz and glam, but It's not all glitz and glam. and more of your story comes from the load in and the load out. And I think that's what makes it interesting. You know, because then that's when you're talking to people, you're meeting with friends, and you're having a few laughs. And, you know, when you're playing, right? That's the show part. But it's not just about the show. So I really appreciate all of your videos. And of course, your sound work is excellent as always. And all of the other work that you do. But we are at 46 minutes. And Artie, you know, we got to wrap it up, man.
Indeed. It's been an absolute honor. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you very much, Artie.
True pleasure, Artie.
And Finch, congratulations on your award tonight.
Oh, thank you. It's not. I mean, it's tonight is just there's a little reception thing, and Joe's invited because Joe's also an alumni, and Marissa Madonia is also an alumni. So
don't try to drag me.
We're
into
rolling
your world.
deep. Well, I'm just uncomfortable with accolades. That's all.
Wait till you see what we're gonna do for the actual award night.
Yeah, I heard my video is going to have a problem. Who knew? The AV guys. Wow.
We're going big. We're going big. That's all I'm gonna say. I can't give you any more details.
Deal.
It's gonna be good.
All right. Very good. Well, Artie, thank you very much. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. Pleasure is all mine, I assure you.
By the way, I did click the subscribe button. You're at 145. And,
thank you, bro.
So we're getting there. We're getting there. Time well spent.
Thank you.
All
right, Mr. Dillon. We'll see you on the other side.
Indeed. Thank you.
Finch, this was fun.
It was fun. It was good.
And I think the music really added to it.
It
Ed, do
does.
you think the music really added to the video? What do you think, Ed?
Who are you asking?
I want to know from Ed Morrell.
All right. Now we are going to have to compensate for some latency here. Okay, so we're going to have to expand on. I'm only kidding. No, we'll come back to you. Ed. When you see this, answer the question in the comment. And
we know that you can talk enough for everybody, so you still may.
Hey, there you go. That was actually pretty quick. All right, boom. So music is staying, and as I'm sure our guest would agree, music adds a little something, and sometimes a big something, but it adds a lot. And it adds a lot to this type of format. And, you know, look, we can even add our own music.
Man,
maybe we should do this. Maybe we should record the corporate AV band, wireless mic and the analogs. And we should all, who also features Artie Dillon on the, there we go. Maybe we should record like a little backing track, a little loop thing, and put that in the background. And now we have original soundtrack. The ideas... They just keep coming. I'm very excited.
That would probably be what shuts us down on YouTube. And
no, come on. It's just instrumental, no lyrics. That's how we avoid any sort of misstep.
All right. Well, we'll put that in the idea tank, and we'll see what comes out of it. You know.
Deal.
There is a revamp coming soon to AVX Live, but we can't get into that right now. More to follow on that. Mr. Finch, it's time for us to go. Let's wrap this thing up.
Okay, apparently I'm pushing it, so let's get out while we can. You can find us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube Live. You can do that on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. While you're there, drop us a comment. Be part of the show like our friends, like Eddie Morrell did back from retirement to watch and partake. And of course, if you're there and you're watching the channels and you've dropped us a comment, you can also like, comment, share, and subscribe, all of those things. Find us on Instagram and Facebook and little snippets. I'm sure there are going to be snippets from this. We had a great discussion, and we're going to be doing that each and every week. So there you have it, Mr. G.
I think you did a fine job, Mr. Finch. It's time to take us out of here, so get your cues ready. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the day. We will see you next week. Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao.